Hello and good morning and welcome to the Cooking Carolines. We are this week going to do a Croatian dish, basically to kind of really with a view to the England-Croatia match on Sunday. Obviously it's a really big game, football game, and sometimes it's quite nice to cook some different food, and some of you might be having parties, bringing friends round, maybe having a barbecue. So I thought it might be quite nice to actually do some kind of Croatian food that we could actually have eat during the match. So it's actually a Croatian dish called the burak, or borek I think is how it's pronounced, B-U-R-E-K, and it's a phyllo pastry dish. It feels a bit Greek actually, obviously a Mediterranean dish. There are other various dishes as well, such as there's a sausage called a karape that you can actually make from scratch, and that might be quite a nice thing to barbecue as well. But we're going to do the burak today, and it's really simple and should be quite tasty as well. And the other great thing about it is that you can use lots of different fillings as well. So you could do a vegetarian dish or a meat dish, so you can cater for lots of different tastes for your guests as well. Okay, so we'll get started. The first thing I'm going to do is make the filling. So I'm going to start with a meat filling. So it's a meat and potato filling basically. So if I just come over here, you can see I've just fried off some onions. Okay, so you can probably just see those. So I've just fried off just one red onion, and I'm just going to put that to the side for a second. So it's just one red onion, and then into the pan. So still having all that lovely onion flavour in there. Just put a tiny bit more olive oil in. Okay, and then I'm going to add in the mince. So this is approximately 300 grams of mince, good quality mince. Okay, and as I say, this is a dish that you can use lots and lots of different fillings. So in that goes, make sure you can see that, put everything back a little bit. There we go. So we're just going to cook that down, make sure it's all browned off nicely, like so. And while that's cooking, I have actually already prepared the potatoes, so I'll just show you that. So we've got the potato here, so it's just one largest potato. You could use something like Maris Piper. I've just cut that into cubes, very smallish cubes, and then I've put it in some boiling water, and then just put it in the microwave actually for about 5 minutes, and that just cooks it really quickly once it's all done in cubes. So you don't have to wait for 20 minutes for the potato to cook. Okay. And obviously once it goes in it's basically, what we're preparing today is kind of some phyllo parcels. So they're going to be in pastry, and then so the filling will be put in the pastry and then put into the oven. So obviously the ingredients will cook a little bit more once they're in the phyllo pastry as well. That's really sizzling away now. There we go. And it's quite nice, I mean, when we have kind of a football party, we kind of decorate with a few flags, have a bit of a sweepstake as well. You might want to do that, have, say, first goal scorer. So if you, we tend to put all the names of the footballers for both teams into a hat, and then all your guests pick out, share out those footballers, and then see who the first goal scorer is. That's quite a nice thing to do. You can even play football bingo as well. So you could have some bingo sheets with first goal scorer. You could have what the score is, maybe what the commentators might say. If they say, the first one to say, or a footballer to say a silly phrase. Those are quite fun ideas. And then maybe even have a little football game halfway through at half time. So lots of nice ideas to do. And then we really like to, with our food, to kind of pair it with traditional drinks. So obviously England are playing, so you might want some bitter, you know, a pint of beer, and then maybe a Croatian drink as well, which I'll try and give you some suggestions for that at the end, or when we post the recipe. Okay, so that's the meat there. Okay, so into that, I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. So I'm now just going to put the potato in there. The meat's all nicely browned off. There we go, so the potato goes in. Okay, and then we're also just going to add a spoonful of smoked paprika. So there we go, that's a teaspoon of smoked paprika. And obviously some salt and pepper as well. Let's just get some salt and pepper. So here's some black pepper. It goes in. And a bit of salt as well. Seasoning. And that's going to all mix around. And then the other ingredients for this meat dish, we've got some rosemary that's going to go in and some garlic as well. So I'll just leave that on a very low light, very low heat, just to cook through. And then I will come back over here and we'll just cut up the, we've got the onions to put in as well, of course. And then I'm just going to cut up some rosemary. This is fresh rosemary. You can get from those supermarkets now. And, oh, that's a really fantastic smell. It does smell quite Mediterranean, actually, whatever that smells. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it up nice and finely. There we go. Right, I think you can't see that very well. Let's just move it back a little bit. Like that. There we go. So just cutting that nice and finely. There we go. So that's going to go into the pan, and we're also going to just cut up two cloves of garlic. Make sure, a friend of mine wants red cloves of garlic as bulbs of garlic and put 2 whole bulbs in, so just make sure it is 2 cloves that you're putting in. Okay, and we're just going to chop that up nice and finely as well. Get some nice garlicky taste going in there. The light on, it's getting a bit dark now. Lovely sunny weather, although I think it's supposed to be scorchio at the weekend, so that's good news. Right, so that garlic's going to go in as well. And I'm also just going to put the onions in. So I'll come back over here so you can see. There we go. So we've got the lovely ingredients, and then those red onions, that red onion is going to go in there. Just all now stirring around, and some lovely smells coming off this as well. Okay, so that's one of the fillings. Another filling that you might want to try is just spinach. So you can make it more kind of vegan. You put some spinach in there. Or you could actually do some cheese. You could either use feta cheese with the spinach again and a bit of egg just to bind it, or you could even use halloumi perhaps as well as your cheese of choice. So I'm going to do lots of different fillings actually for mine on Sunday. We're just going to show you the meat one today. Okay, so there we go, that's that one cooking off. So we're just going to leave that for a few more minutes just to cook, and while that's cooking we're going to have a look at the parcels, making the actual pastry. Now, you could make the phyllo pastry from scratch. It is quite tricky if you do that, and will take quite a long time. It's really too long for the cooking Carolines. But, you know, if you really want to have a go at that, that's something certainly to try. It's a very good skill to have. But you can get so many pastries now, particularly phyllo pastry from the supermarket, either from the frozen section or in the kind of cold chillers. So I just think the phyllo pastry, it's a lot easier just to buy it really, and otherwise it does take hours to make. Something like short crust pastry I'd make because that's nice and quick and easy. But for a phyllo, I would buy it. Okay, so I've got fresh phyllo pastry. There we go. And I'm just going to. It's already in the sheets, so that's really handy. And I'm just going to peel off one of the sheets like so. They're really nice and thin, and we're going to make some little parcels. So I'm just going to cut that into 4, like so. There we go. So we've got a nice square parcel, and you can make them as big or as small as you want, and obviously add whatever filling you want as well. Okay, so we've got 4 there, and then to that I'm just going to add a mixture. So we've got that lovely mixture, which does smell delicious actually, I have to say. Very nice. And we're going to put that in the centre of one of the parcels. Now let's just see, make sure you can see this. I made it over there, that's a bit better, isn't it? There we go. Okay, so we're going to put it in the middle of the parcel, like so. Making sure that you've got all the different ingredients. You want to make sure you've got a bit of the potato, a little bit of the meat and the onions, some of the rosemary. Just check that one out. Okay, and you want a fairly decent filling. You want to make sure that your guests are going to have enough filling, although we will take those 2 bits out. Okay, like so, and then you just fold it in. Okay, like so. Now we're just going to just add a little bit of oil just to help it kind of stick together. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil on a plate. There we go. A bit of olive oil, and I'm just going to very lightly just go around the outside of the square of the phyllo. And this should mean that it sticks together a bit better. Okay, like so. And we've also got, we need to make sure we've got here we go, a baking tray ready. Okay, so there we go, so it's just sticking together like so. And then we're just going to bring that over onto the other side, and it makes a little parcel like that. There we go, there's one already made, and then we're going to go again. So I'll just do a couple of these so that you can see them. So again, the filling in the middle. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring that in together. A little bit of oil around the edge, like so. That's going to go into the middle. And again, so it's making a little parcel. There we go, and then we're going to put that over. Okay, it's a bit of a better shape, that one. Okay, and again, so we're just going to use our fingers, go around the edge of the square, and again, a bit more filling into the middle. And then again, bringing the corners in to make a kind of envelope shape, like so. Okay, so you've got your parcels there. So then what I would suggest doing is just, if you get a little bit of egg, and if you just whisk that up, and then you can just egg wash the top. So I'll just do that, and then just whisk up that egg like so. And then just very lightly, if you can do it with your finger or with a brush, that would be also helpful. Or even just a little bit of a spoon actually would be fine. And just put ladle that over the top, like so. Just to egg wash the top. There we go, so it just gets it a nice golden brown colour in the oven, like so. There's my slightly misshapen one there, but really you can do them any shape or size, to be honest. Okay, so those will then go into the oven at they're going for 30 minutes at 200 degrees centigrade, and then you could have them with other barbecue food, just have them with some vegetables. As I say, you could use different ingredients, so spinach inside instead. Really anything that is tasty that would make a nice filling. And then what is really nice is to kind of pair it with some nice Croatian drinks as well. So and maybe even a Croatian dessert. So a dessert that's really popular in Croatia is cream puffs, and that really is our that's the recipe that we used for the profiteroles. But instead of kind of chocolate or butterscotch sauce, you would just have cream and then lightly dust them with icing sugar. So you can always look back at our Cooking Carolines and maybe use that as your dessert as well. If you wanted to go for something for England, you can maybe use fish and chips and have some fish and chips and some of the berek as well. So you've got different flavours from the two different countries. Okay, so that's our Cooking Carolines this week. I'll make sure that I put a suggested drink as well on the recipe that we post later. But enjoy the football match on Sunday. Come on, England. Okay, thank you. Bye.